Video games stay with you in a different way than other mediums of art. The memories of a game can feel tactile. You get the sense, I walked these halls, I blew up that wall, I almost died. You know? It's common for someone playing a video game to identify with their player character, to the point where they say, I died, when they lose. Some folks even experience, like us, flinching when taking damage in a game. It's pretty normal, and is a testament to how much people naturally tend to identify with the protagonist. For this reason, seeing representation in video games can feel hollow when it's not a playable character. Luckily for us, we've fallen down a rabbit hole of indie games, which, as you may know, has a lot of games with queer protagonists. It's a deep well of people, sometimes just one or two, putting their hearts out there in a game, in a really vulnerable way. And some of the most famous indies focus on a particular emotional resonance that you find a lot less often in big budget titles. Indie games can tap into a romanticized sense of connection. They can swing towards the avant-garde and end up expanding a whole genre. Other times, the simplicity of mechanics can complement the emotional resonance the game goes for. And it just feels, for lack of a better word, cleaner than other games in focus or design. Sometimes the density of mechanics in a game can be staggering, and sometimes you have to, as a player, ignore certain mechanics if they make things too difficult or complicated. And as a disabled person, sometimes certain mechanics or interactions have to be ignored or we can't play the game at all. So certain games leave an impact on us, not only because of a strong or relatable story, but also because it engages us in a way that doesn't rub up against our limitations. Bonus points if the story or message of the game relates to those limitations. So it's no secret we love horror games. And horror games in particular, even ones that end in power fantasy, often give a player, through mastery of the mechanics, a sense of overcoming something horrible and getting out of a bad situation. Survival horror is what hooked us into the genre of horror in the first place. It's founded on the concept of growing and getting better through adversity. With the added context of being queer and into horror, it's a rough deal sometimes, looking at queer and especially trans portraits of characters in horror. But indie queer horror games tend to be made by queer folks, so yeah, of course, that's a great place to find empowering, resonant games. When we hear talk about indie games, the dialogue often feels stuffy. Like certain games have a more approachable aesthetic for normies. Not to say folks aren't talking about Lady Killer in a Bind or Luca Born of a Dream, but what impresses non-video game folks, or just in general all those that still want proof video games are art, tend to swing towards less weird games. Things like A Normal Lost Phone, Gone Home, or Life is Strange are a little safer to present. They're more respectable, adult. Even outside of queer indie games, this feels relevant. As dark as Five Nights at Freddy's is, isn't it weird that there is a very visible child fan base? Or at the very least, there's a lot of marketing targeting children? We're sure that's for a lot of reasons, but the main protagonists are just ridiculous. Despite that, they do scare me. I objectively admit that there is a very #adult way many folks dismiss games like this. Especially since you could say, oh, it's not scary, it's just a bunch of dumb jump scares. But what a lot of folks scared by Five Nights at Freddy's animatronics have in common is a fear buried deep in their childhood of being scared by them in real life, or just having a history of being scared by uncanny things. There's a place for adult things, but there's also a place for a different kind of adult things. Being a baby furry that's into horror, or for those in the know, dark age play. There is a certain intersection of a childlike or soft aesthetic juxtaposed with disturbing themes, or gore, or horrible implications. It's our shit. But when you add in furries, and all LGBT plus cast, and mental illness factoring into the plot and characters, oh yeah, and even polyamory, all I got to say is, more please. The thing about that is, even though some of the games we've already mentioned take a lot of boxes, it's rare for a game to hit more than 2 or 3. But Purrfect Apawcalypse and its sequel hits what, 4? 5? So of course it was going to be our birthday special. Well, that, and it's really helped us understand parts of us that don't usually get to be validated in media all at the same time. We played it on stream back during Wrath Month and got really into it. We try to read in character whenever we play reading heavy games, but this game, maybe even more than Heaven Will Be Mine, really made us want to read in character because everyone is so distinct. But the main character in particular is a very comfortable character for us to read for. And if we hadn't read the whole game out loud, we wouldn't have realized just how much we identify with them. The thing about hey, this is my video essay, and you sound so stuffy and boring. You did the introduction, now it's my turn. But they need to understand the context in Phantombyte. My birthday. Our birthday. Our birthday. And my gift is hosting the birthday special, so sit your padded posterior down and let me do the thingy. Fine. Purrfect Apawcalypse caught our attention because it's cute and furry and gay. You can find it on itch.io for free, and that's not a bad deal. It's a horror game by 90% Studios, an indie developer who seem to really excel at cute things that give me feels. Purrfect Apawcalypse is an adventure, visual novel, horror dating sim. It smashes together these genres in a really satisfying way. Aesthetically, we just can't look away. To be honest, it does remind us of Dark Age play, although this game isn't related to that. But not to be all parasocially, but I feel like this game was made for us specifically. First off, it's cute to the point of a toothache. Just looking at the art makes me want to curl up in a blanket for warm milk in a bottle for Saturday morning cartoons. Next, brutal, horrible death. I'm like the kid in kindergarten who was exposed to horror movies way too young and got to hang out with the grown-ups because I didn't scream at Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Nightmares. This is cool. Oh, and the protagonist is total baby. Kindred spirit, really. Though, the good part of that wasn't just, ooh woo, we identify with you, but also, oh shit, self-awareness blues. So a character analysis was a must-do. The basic gameplay loop is guiding the protag through situations, forming bonds with the other characters along the way, and hitting dead ends of, well, death, and starting all over again using what you learned to progress even further. Sounds simple, right? Well, it is, but it's not without its nuance. First off, those bonds you form aren't all positive. The game shows you how a character is getting along with you. So, it could be good or bad. And depending on how you act, you can make friends. Or just not. The mood a character is in will affect their behavior during a run. So, if you're in dire straits and a character hates you, don't expect them to run and save you. There aren't very many items in the game, so the relationships take center stage in terms of progression. So it's less like King's Quest, more like Persona? My friends are my power. It's a horror game and the bad ends can get kinda brutal. But for us, the cartoon gore is perfect. It still frightens the hell out of us, but gosh is it a nice break from the slew of photorealistic horror games that are everywhere nowadays. Given the setting and characters, it's like reading the Choose Your Own Adventure Goosebumps books, except without the paper cuts and plenty of blood. We went in thinking it was a zombie apocalypse, but we're subtly surprised. So, the game starts out with our protagonist Olive in a closet. Wait a minute, is this a metaphor for being in the closet, like as a gay? Well, we can't exactly rule it out. Olive is a scaredy puppy, which is the only reason they didn't die with their entire class right before the game started. Something tore through Olive's school and left the place looking like it was hit by a school shooter. It's been a while since I heard anything outside. I think whatever was in the classroom left a while ago, but who knows how long it's been. I've slowly been coming to terms with my own demise and I'm totally ready to die. I'm sick of just sitting here and contemplating death. No more waiting around, slowly starving, all alone in this dumb closet. I think the only way the end could be sweeter is if I could spend it with that special someone. Who that special someone is, I have no idea, but I sure won't find them just sitting around in here. I'm gonna find someone to make this the perfect apocalypse. Our first run, we actually tried to stay in the closet. Interesting to see their thought process is trying to convince themselves that dying alone is okay. But sometimes the closet can't protect you from your own fear. Olive gets scared by what turns out to be a key brushing against them and scaring them out of the closet. It's a mood. Olive is adorable, but also kinda sad. They've kind of given up since they're in such a dire situation, so their objective isn't to escape or survive, but to find someone to die with. Which was harder to hear than the bad ends are to see. Because we've been like that before. Thinking that true connection was finding someone willing to die with you. Thinking that the world's over and all that we have to look forward to is making our death as pleasurable as we can make it. And then not being alone would be pretty nice. Kind of ironic, seeing as Olive is a doggo, and real doggos don't tend to want company when they die. Did I mention that this is a school for dogs? An all-dog school? Well, it is. For us, Olive was a weird mirror. They're timid, sweet, has a speech impediment, has a death plan, is an MB? Gosh, it was wish fulfillment inverted. Anyway, whether you discover the key or not and add it to your inventory after Olive leaves the closet, they can explore the entire school. The key is to the basement door, which you can go in immediately if you have the key, but we thought the better of it in our first playthrough. The order you do things will definitely determine how you ingest and perceive the story. Even though there is a critical path and a canon ending, it doesn't mean the alternate timelines don't matter, and since this is our perspective, and we'll be analyzing it from the order of events as they occur to us, on to the library. Hello, puppies. The library is seemingly empty, but as Olive thinks about reading till they starve or eating the books to survive, do they actually want to die? Then out of nowhere, we meet our first potential sweetie. Hello, puppy. Ah! Oh, hello. Sorry to startle you. My name's Patches. I was just excited to see someone who was actually alive. Oh, yes. I'm alive and so are you. Wow, we have so much in common. Patches is quiet and comes off confident, but like a prefect or a student council member. But first impressions are everything. Not that it matters either way to Olive. We're both alive and we have so much in common is a very troubling statement. Terrible situations can affect our decisions and priorities. But the cool thing about horror games is that with your back against the wall, you find out things about yourself. Fear can be like alcohol. It can impair you, but what you do on it is still something you're fully capable of. So it not mattering who the person is as long as they're alive is very telling of Olive's personality and flagrant codependency. Patches is troubling himself. He talks about being sad about the dead people, but is talking about it with a lack of distress. Maybe he's just traumatized. Anyway, Olive subverts the expectation when asked what they want to do at the end of the world. Hold pause. Well, since this is the only apocalypse I'll ever experience, I want it to be perfect. It'd be really nice to, have my first time. Holding pause. Olive is so precious. And maybe Ace? Now that would be pretty cool. Olive's desperation is showing. It's really easy to piss off Patches though. But despite that, he seems to just be fine holding pause. In fact, he turns it into a hug. Too bad it becomes a red flag since, at the minimum, Olive didn't ask for it, and at maximum, Patches immediately asks for a favor upon completing it. Not to say Olive wouldn't have been eager to please regardless. Patches pacify Olive, it seems, in order to get their cooperation. And apparently, it's a secret. But of course I'll do it! You did give me affection, and if it means you won't leave, of course! The big sub-energy radiating off of Olive is putting off a scary vibe. Remember, little bites, having boundaries is good. Anyway, Patches reveals that he really wants to pet a cat. That one is in the school, and it probably went into the basement? Wait, like a cat or a cat furry? I'm confused. Given Olive's reaction, it's probably the former, right? Patches wouldn't want to pet a stranger, right? That would be like wanting to brush a black person's hair before you die. So, we went to the bathroom, which ends up being a face-off moment. Olive lets it slip that they drink toilet water. And their flustered embarrassment makes Patches and a mysterious dog laugh. Oh, there's another person in here? A corgi bursts out of the stall, hitting Patches and knocking a knife from his blazer? We thought it was for self-defense at first. I mean, it is an apocalypse. But the corgi goes for it and Patches kills her? Okay, so maybe not self-defense. We think Patches isn't very nice, so we go for the knife as well. End up just like the corgi. As Olive fades from existence, they are confused by how Patches turned out to be bad. Which highlights that Patches is an abuser whose kindness only exists to get him what he wants. I know we have these takes a lot, but in a horror dating sim, this reading is as clear as day. And apparently, having an abusive person as an option, as a lesson in who you shouldn't date, isn't new to the dating sim genre. Like in Dream Daddy.
There isn't an ending where you get together, and I think that's the game pretty clearly telling you that you aren't really supposed to like people like Robert. And if that wasn't enough, the game actually tells you this pretty explicitly. Your character accuses Robert of being a bad person, and Robert tells you you're a bad person for pursuing him, and that your interest in him encouraged his shittiness. Wow. Cancelled.
I mean, even a corgi had accused Patches of taking advantage of people, so there's also that. This is a pretty gnarly way to get our first death. And it seems that Patches isn't only a killer, but really enjoys it. Thanks, Olive. You're really nice too. Even after being stabbed half a dozen times. You know, no one said I had to leave right away. Let's have some fun. And he's in the snuff? Oof. The game over screen is really interesting. Because it's also a results screen. It shows Olive as a spirit, and who, if anyone, they made happy. Wow, we made Patches happy on our first try. Look, he even had a heart when we died. We're so good at dying. So, on the next run, we went gay to the potty. In the potty, you find a disfigured body. And a corgi with a dark sense of humor hiding in a bathroom stall. Not unlike our closet. Oh my dog, now's my chance. May she rest here, her dying request forever unfulfilled. I pray the heavens spare her a square. The stall door whips open, revealing a happy little corgi, dying of laughter. Oh my god, well, if she had just asked, maybe she wouldn't be stuck on the pooper till she flippin' died. Boy, am I glad to see you. I'm Brownie. What's your name? How's it going? I'm Olive, and I've come to terms with my own death. Yeesh, what a concept. I guess that means you can do anything you want and it doesn't matter because you'll be dead. Wait a second. Oh, my dog! What? Well, I don't know if you're up for it, but I just realized. Chocolate! 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 We should find some and eat it. We're just gonna die here anyway. Not sure where we'll find some, but it'll be easier with the two of us. What do you say? Guess she wouldn't be too bad to die with, right? Technically, we already did that. So, she wants to do suicide by chocolate, eh? You can people please and agree, but we decline, still kind of shaken from all that blind trust of Patches. Apparently, dying of chocolate is painful, and Olive doesn't like pain. Go figure. Brownie gets mad and leaves to search for chocolate alone. So, we went to the gym, which shows us another potential sweetie. But we don't get his name as he's being attacked by a ghost, though Olive referred to them as demons before. Anyway, it's another dead end, cause you try to fight the demon off, but just end up dead yourself. Oh shit, we died and no one was happy. Okay, so we avoided the murderer, we don't want to die by chocolate, and helping the guy in the gym seems to only end up making us dead. So, the basement can't be any worse than all that, right? Well, we go straight into the basement alone, and we found a cat. Is this the cat Patches was looking for? So he did want to pet a person. Or worse. That seems like him. The cat is doing some magic stuff, and even has one of the demons in their control. And it's totally gonna have it kill Olive. Does that mean all the ghosts were summoned by this cat? There's a lot of options, but again, trying to fight just ends up getting dead. And just like Olive said, it's a quickie. And the game informs you that having someone with you might have helped. And that we die alone, which as we all know is a fate worse than death. Then, we remember Patches has a knife. So, on the next run, we join his party and go straight to the basement like he wants. He's violent, right? He'll protect me from the cat. He loves to murder after all. which we have to point out is a headspace we're used to as an abuse victim. Sometimes you think of someone who hurt you as having the power to protect you, and can even give you a feeling of safety from being around them. Abusers sometimes frame this as their duty to you as someone who loves you. To hurt others on your behalf, I mean. And that any pain they cause you is only because you did something wrong. Which all makes us glad we didn't get the option to be cool about him killing the corgi. After all, someone like Patches is emboldened by compliance. The other option was begging for our life. But I promise it wasn't a better option. So, we go to the basement with Patches and guess what? He pushes us down the stairs. We're such a useful distraction. Olive lands in front of a robed figure. Ow. What the? Hey, Coco. Long time no see. How's Angel doing? You! Was it you all along? How could you? He was just a kid! I'll kill you. I'll kill you like I killed every dog in this school. Hey now, don't take credit for all of them. And don't act so high and mighty about Angel either. It's your fault for being so inattentive. Who knows? Maybe you could have saved him. If you paid attention to him like I did. I'll kill you! Oh, what are you doing? Shh, Olive. I just really love cats. Actually, I kinda like puppies too. So, now the plot's laid bare a bit, and it's starting to remind me of another game where someone kills an inordinate amount of people to avenge a loved one. But yeah, we kinda get what we wanted. Patches did kill Coco, but in the end, we're just Patches' plaything. And we're killed immediately after. Although apparently he likes a fighter, or at the very least watching someone squirm. Just like he teased Coco before killing her. So, we made Patches happy again! Perhaps Patches isn't the answer to our problems? Revolutionary idea, I know. Alright, I'm in. You in? I'm in. I'm in too. Great. It's the Hakucho High School Guardian. What? I made it up just now. So, I lied. Next time, I go right back to Patches. This time, Olive wanted to know the secret beforehand. So it turns out, when you aren't as eager to please, he's uninterested in you. Go figure. Although, he does twist the knife in Olive's empathy. And since he can't use them, he tries to play a Sea of Despair. What the fudgies? Potty's next. If Olive's a ride and die sweetie, this time Brownie joins the party. Despite party members joining for specific reasons, Olive still gets to decide where they explore. So even though Brownie wants to go to the cafeteria for a chocolatey demise, you can ignore her desire completely. Normally, I might mention ludonarrative dissonance here, but actually considering Olive is so selfish, I don't doubt for a moment that they just do what they want, and given the circumstances, I can imagine Brownie, and most other characters in that position, being too frightened to protest. After all, Olive leaves their hiding place, but if Olive never enters the bathroom, Brownie never leaves hers. We decided maybe, if we go to the basement with Brownie, we'll have a different outcome. This was somewhat wishful thinking, as it results in Brownie's death. But this time, with our last breath, we decide to talk it out. How do I know that? Angel, get the other one too. Wait, please, don't hurt me. I'll buy you ice cream. I'll even give you a hug after. Angel, what are you waiting for? They're cute. You're kidding me, right? How do you know they weren't the one who did this to you? What do you mean? Someone turned you into a demon? I'm not a demon. I'm actually a ghost. Oh, sorry. It's okay. Happens. And although Olive is fawning rather hard, it seems authentic. And even though we're still torn apart by demons, Angel doesn't do it. And the game over tells us we made him happy? Well, that's a development. I wonder if there's a way to make everyone happy. So, next time, we befriend Brownie and sprint to the gym. Always overlooked it before, but there are snacks in the gym you discover, and with Brownie by your side, she encourages the party to eat them. Frickin' peer pressure. Even when you agree, however, Olive only grabs water. And moments later, when the mysterious husky is attacked by demons, if you choose to fight, Olive finds out water is actually super broken against the demons. And we finally get to meet Sparky. This moment is so important. For one, it's the right step towards the critical path, and the game's message starts to come in a little more clearly. Fight? We were just gonna eat some chocolate. Chocolate? Why? Well, we just thought we'd die anyway, so... That's horrible. Don't lose hope. With the three of us working together, we can stop this. Here's the idea. There's some exposed water piping near the basement. Maybe we can flood the school and ward off the demons. Whoa. Like, you mean we get to break stuff? But if we survive and escape, I'll have to wait till I'm an old dog to eat chocolate. But that means you'll have 12 years left to eat tons of new food. Wow. Yeah. Alright, I'm in. You in? I'm in. Unlike Olive and Brownie, Sparky has no intention of dying today. And it turns out, he's really sweet. As hearing about Brownie and Olive's tenuous suicide pact makes him sad. And with the weakness of the demons now discovered, his encouragement to try to survive as a team is far more reasonable than it could have been. Even when agreeing to look for chocolate, Olive still wasn't really looking to poison themselves. Now with Sparky in the party, it's easy for Olive to encourage Brownie to live. True to life, with the support of others, the bleakness of life can be diminished, and you can look forward to something again. Hey, I would feel remiss if we didn't mention how the game handles suicide. Although Olive has given up hope until meeting Sparky and Brownie, the only endings where Olive dies willingly is with Brownie. During our birthday stream, we got to take paths we never had before, including what happens if you find and eat chocolate with Brownie. Hey, is death by chocolate painful? Who cares? I'm sure whatever pain we feel will get canceled out by how awesome it's gonna taste. Let's eat it at the same time. Okay. The two began munching on chocolate. Oh, they didn't even give us a chance to, like, say no once we're in here. It's just like, okay, I guess we're eating chocolate now. It's so bitter, but so good. Crunchy. Oh, whoa. Didn't think it'd kick in so suddenly. Oh no, does it hurt? Nah, that's not so bad. I'm kind of scared. How are you feeling? Brownie pukes up blood. Ah, Brownie! It's okay. This is what I signed up for. Oh, I feel sick. I don't think the smell of blood and chocolate mix very well. Well, hold pause. I'm not dead yet, you know. Ah, I'm sorry. That's okay. This is really cute. Thanks for doing this with me. That's way better than dying alone. Even if it's a bit uncomfortable. Yeah. I'm glad I got to meet you. We'd make good friends. Thank you, Brownie. The two slowly die together. Taking the keep it to yourself option results in both pups suffering a slow death. But by holding Brownie's paw, by reaching out, their suffering doesn't define their death. We've struggled with depression and probably always will battle with suicidal ideation. And like Olive, worried about being alone at the end, wanting desperately to have someone there who loved us as we went. We even had a suicide pact with someone for years. Choosing to love is hard, and we won't ever disparage someone for having made the opposite choice. But that doesn't mean we won't encourage others to choose life, even just for a little longer. Lots of stories have suicide in them, and often as a plot device. Horror stories, because of their expendable cast, touch on the subject more than other genres. So, It's not a big surprise when we see it. But in Purrfect, the inclusion of it gave us a strong feeling of hope, because Brownie not killing herself is one of the parts that's necessary for the true ending, which is a subtle message of keep going. You don't know what you could still achieve. You might miss out on some really awesome things. And people. Thanks. Now back to it. Since water disintegrates the demons, Sparky has the bright idea to break the pipes near the basement, so the school floods. Unfortunately for Coco, the flooding messes up her summoning circle, so her and Angel teleport to a different part of the school. So, with no threat, we can enter the basement without fear of death. Isn't it great to have friends? They said they were looking for someone. They probably want them dead, even if it means slaughtering the entire school. Which, kind of includes us. That, or they just really hate dogs. Maybe both. Either way, they're probably not interested in a friendly chat. Unless we offer them something in return. So, you're suggesting we help them. Whoever they're looking for is probably dead. Well, if they're still looking even after all these dogs have died, then whoever they're looking for must still be alive, right? I hope so. Trust me. Let's find these cats and offer to sniff out whoever they're looking for. With 3 dogs and an actual sense of smell, they can't possibly turn us down. And if it turns out that the dog they're looking for is one of you, then that'll save us some time too. Oh, so the plot thickens. And we're gonna try to help the kitty who brought calamity to the whole school. This being a different run, of course, our party doesn't yet know that Patches is the doggo with the special interest in murder and manipulation that the kitties are looking for. If you go to the library with your party, in fact, you get the scenario that perhaps shook us the most. Excuse me? I think I'm just fine here in the library. How did you all manage to survive? With the help of my friends. I had a lot of snacks in my pack. By hiding in a closet. That's precious. What's your plan then? Eat snacks with your friends in a closet. Brownie isn't here for Patches' shit though. Huh. Very funny. I think I've seen you around school before. You're always alone and staring at people. Weirdo. Stop. You're being mean. It's making me sad. Patches isn't a team player and doesn't like the idea of joining the group. It's hard to manipulate folks that way. I don't want to make it out of here. Brownie's right. I'm always alone. I don't want to return to a world where I'm still alone. This added context was my first moment of empathizing with Patches, which is hella troubling, because unlike other abusers we've looked at in our content, Patches doesn't try to justify his behavior, and doesn't do it to protect or avenge someone important to him. Those reasons wouldn't excuse it, but Patches' enjoyment of killing and the control he gets make him much scarier to consider. He isolates and pushes people away as far as possible, through death. Thematically, the game suggests Patches was the kid nobody liked and who you should fear will become a school shooter, which is a narrative in our experience that really took hold, at least in American society with the massacre at Columbine. Growing up, we even heard our teachers labeling kids as potential threats on account of isolation and bullying, which is a shitty logic in our opinion because it proposes that if a person is hurt by others, then the normal human and expected response will just be to lash out. I don't think of humans or anthro-doggies and kitties as inherently cruel, because living hurts, and the fact of life is that eventually people will hurt you, some worse than others, and even if they love you, sometimes especially so. And if we choose to retaliate, we'll only spread our hurt, like Patches. And any relief we feel will only be temporary. And before we move on, we just want to point out that Olive's defense of Patches here isn't for his sake. It's for Olive's. As they say, stop being mean, you're making me sad. That'll be important later. On this path, when you leave the library, it becomes clear Patches is following the party at a distance. The team argues about what to do as Olive wants to be nice to Patches and invite him into the party again. And Brownie is convinced that Patches isn't following them with his tail between his legs, and should be avoided. Apart from self-defense, or fighting to stop another from dying, this is the first time we see Olive being aggressive. We've searched the entire school, and I'm pretty convinced the only people left alive are the 3 of us, those cats, and Patches. Why would it matter if Patches is following us? We should let him. If you don't like him, then maybe you should leave. Olive, don't say that. I'm not saying I'm against Patches joining. But look how far we've walked with him following us. We're not outpacing him. He's trying to trail far enough for us not to notice. Isn't that suspicious? Please trust me, we're friends. If this was somehow your first path, seeing this from Olive might be considered endearing? Olive's empathy is in full swing after all, but considering their wording in the library, I suspect Olive's behavior isn't pure. Maybe they were like Patches too before everything went to hell. Alone. Thinking back, not only did Olive not care who they got to die with as long as they got what they wanted, but they only seemed sad about their own impending mortality. Not once had Olive ever expressed concern about any friends who would have surely been killed in this terrible apocalypse, or concern about their own family. We don't hear this from any potential party members either, but considering we get to see Olive's inner monologues and spend the most time with them, the lack of any connections with people, good or bad, before the apocalypse seems likely. And so being mean to Patches likely feels like being mean to Olive by proxy. I do think Olive has strong empathy and compassion, and I think Patches leverages this to his advantage, as abusers often do. And knowing what Patches is capable of, the choice presented to the player here is stomach nodding, since it's literally trust your abuser or trust your friend. And I'll tell you here, both choices are bad ends. If you trust Patches, Olive confronts him and attempts to get him to join the party again. But Patches grabs their paw and runs off with Olive. I don't really like your friends. You're the only real nice one. So let's go hang out somewhere else. But we have a plan to break out of the school. We just need to go to the classroom and we're free. Olive, no one is getting out of here alive. So let's make the most of the time we have together. Olive struggles to get away, but it's too late. Patches is already cutting into them. Brownie. Sparky. Don't worry. I'll meet up with them later and tell them how obsessed you were with me, to the point of convincing me to go somewhere alone with you, and then killing yourself when I turned you down. Olive, you're so sweet. This scene did a number on us. Patches has many face-off moments in the game, you can see, but this one takes the cake for us because Patches' manipulation caused Olive to run into the arms of their abuser and low-key threaten one of their friends. Olive wants to save Patches, like many victims of abuse do. Some victims, even knowing that a person is dangerous, might still go back thinking they can save them. It's a common tactic of emotional abusers, and it's double effective if, like in this situation, the victim isolates themselves from loved ones. Most abusers would never admit it to their victims, but in Patches' case, he's already won. And it highlights that though Patches is a physical threat, his emotional abuse is far more insidious. We aren't trivializing physical abuse, however emotional abuse is harder to pin down. It doesn't leave marks one can see, and it can take years to realize just what happened to you. Trusting Brownie being a dead end isn't saying you're fudged trusting anyone, but it does suggest that even meeting Patches is a bad idea, as you are locked out of the true ending if Olive talks to him at all before the party gets to the classroom. If you side with Brownie and try to lose Patches, he'll confront the party before they can. And Sparky holds them at bay as Olive and Brownie abscond. They end up in the classroom and Brownie is killed by Coco before she can say much. Now Olive is alone. Again. Quaking in a closet that they started in, Olive is re-traumatized, helplessly hearing the sounds of death once again. I usually like to take my time with these things, but nothing's wrong with a little hack and slash. I don't like this. Angel! Enough. I should have never left. I want to go home. Angel? I know you're in there. Get out. Get out. He grasps Olive's head. You brought him here. And he killed Coco. This is your fault. It's over. Finally. Angel's anger at Olive for inadvertently getting his sister killed puts him in his sister's shoes. Revenge shoes. But the fact that Angel is made happy at this dead end sucks. Justice may be served, but he's lost everything. Thematically, this end is more typical of horror movies. Olive starting and ending in the closet bookends the adventure, and the inherent queerness of the story would likely be a knife twist in LGBT plus folk everywhere, as it could be read as Olive staying in the closet would have reduced everyone's suffering, and since they died there, it will be like they never left. Olive's goal of dying with someone and dying happy being stripped from them is masterful irony, considering without Sparky's hope, Olive likely would have just died with Brownie. And even though Olive made friends, ultimately they led them all to gruesome ends. The choice to trust Brownie came too late, as it was a reluctant trust anyway. If I killed your friend, would you want to kill me? Well, I don't think so. I think I just wonder what I could have done to stop all this. But this isn't your typical horror story. This tragedy doesn't have to swallow everyone up. So, if you get Brownie and Sparky in your party, without interacting with Patches, break the pipes, overhear the kitties' dialogue, and go gay right to the classroom, then congratulations! You've reached the 11th hour of this story. Or was it the 9th? Coco's desire to avenge her brother controls all of her actions. In past paths, you see she's not very willing to listen. More magic first, ask questions never. The fantastic element of being able to summon your dead loved one is used to its fullest here. She doesn't have to guess at what Angel would want. She can just ask. Without Angel present, our three pups' fates would have been sealed forever. But Olive is the final ingredient in turning things around. Olive jumps in front of Sparky. Please, Angel, don't hurt him. I care about Sparky the way your sister must care about you. I'd be really sad if Sparky wasn't around anymore. I don't think he was the one who killed you. Just give us a chance to prove it. Angel, what are you waiting for? If I killed your friend, would you want to kill me? Well, I don't think so. I think I just wonder what I could have done to stop all this. I'd regret everything. This is Purrfect Apawcalypse's emotional center, empathy and compassion in the face of pain. Angel gets some perspective on his and his sister's action. Olive was gonna be in Coco's position, but rather than fight, they put themselves in harm's way to protect Sparky. And if it were to happen, Olive wants to believe that they wouldn't put on the revenge shoes, like Angel does when Coco dies. Angel never got presented with an alternative to going along with Coco's revenge Armageddon in his name. So seeing Olive wanting to change things without killing and giving into hate taught Angel that there is another way. The pain doesn't have to beget more pain. If someone hurts someone you love, it can push you to do terrible things in the name of setting things right. Of the folks that do believe victims of abuse, there are often loved ones that will stop at nothing to retaliate. It's like when we mentioned how some think it's human nature to spread hurt if someone hurts you, but many victims do not want pain doled out in kind. It makes you feel like a vector for further pain. In fact, many a victim wants to make sure others aren't hurt like they've been hurt. Sometimes even volunteering or going into jobs that help victims or educate folks on not being abusive. So Coco softened, but still doesn't trust these dogs, and sends Olive to find Patches, although they won't be alone as Angel volunteers to accompany them and promises to keep them safe. From here on, you don't get any more encounters with demons. It's not the typical way you walk through the end game of a horror thingy. There isn't this sense that Olive has been hardened by their experiences and shaped into a warrior, like in survival horror games. In fact, it's them sticking to their values and being emotionally open to those around them that has gotten them to this point. And don't forget, this is a dating sim. So, Angel is a sweetie. Everywhere you go on your search, Olive gets a chance to bond with Angel. Although, unlike the other sweeties, no matter what choices you make in these moments, Angel's affection only grows. This is so cute. In fact, we found that Angel and Olive are very similar. Do you think toilet flushes are really loud? Like scary loud? Yes. Wow, I thought it was the only one. If I said no, would you have felt embarrassed? Oh no, they figured out that Olive wears diapers. Probably, but I'm always embarrassed. That's cute. No, you're embarrassing me. And on top of that, Olive doesn't feel the need to people please like they've done so many times so far. Before, Olive was trying desperately not to be alone and would go to great lengths to do so. But they don't puppy dog Angel. Angel chooses to go with them. Olive doesn't have to micromanage if their actions will make Angel leave, and as a result, they have a good time hanging out. But just like a date, every story must come to an end. If you steer clear of the basement, eventually it's the only unsearched area. Once inside, Patches follows you in, preventing any escape. Although normally with Angel by Olive's side, Patches would be powerless to do much. But since Olive and company flooded the basement, this is the only place in the school where Patches will have any power over Angel. Although even with this advantage, Patches asks Olive to help in killing Angel. Who said Patches isn't a team player? Olive, why don't you help me out? I know what you want out of life. Love, right? I'll be your boyfriend if you join me. And boyfriends will never murder you. Never. You're lying. All you do is lie. So perceptive. It was sarcasm. You could have ended up like Angel, but now you'll just be another faceless victim who meant nothing to me. By the way, Angel is distinct from the demons. Just a splash won't just make them sizzle. But it's not a contrivance. In the paths in which you encounter demons, it's clear they don't understand language and have little to no will of their own. Angel is sentient, probably because Angel was once alive. This moment of Olive standing up to their abuser is fulfilling and resonant, but it's not just because it's happening in the first place. It's how the game blends the mechanics with the meta-narrative that makes the moment so earned, especially for someone with a history of abuse. One could posit that of course Olive can stand up to Patches. They've never met in this timeline. He probably only knows their name from following them around anyway. The game, however, does not disregard Olive's and the player's struggle through this nightmare on their many bad ends. Harkening back to Olive's answer to Angel in the classroom of wondering if they could have stopped things, the game is like an experiment in a victim's desire to have the chosen right path under the misguided assumption that it was their actions that wrought all this pain. A victim is not to blame for the abuse that they suffered. Even though Olive's blind trust, fawning, and intense empathy is something Patches targets and exploits, it's not something that Olive somehow earned. In fact, Patches will look for these traits in anyone, and he likely found them in Angel too. No wonder Patches uses "hello puppies" as a way to gauge his victims. The game allows saving, however, on our first playthrough it kinda slipped our mind, and every time we died, we started over from the closet, drawing our attention to more of the time-loopy nature of Olive's death exploits. And after so many different occasions of being hurt and watching others hurt by Patches, we saw the exhaustive scenarios in which no matter what you try to do, Patches does the same things, tries to manipulate and hurt everyone. Any attempt to help or understand him are turned against Olive, and after meeting him, any avoidance or rejection just ends up with him skipping past pleasantries, since that tactic isn't working. For things to go different, Patches would have to be different, not Olive. It's not often that we see a fail state in the game enriching a narrative so much. Being a visual novel adventure choosy game allows more flexibility than what you would see in other horror titles, as each game over isn't just a gruesome death and a mistake to correct. It's an extra bit of context and characterization. And within the dating sim genre, it also pivots the player to recognize the toxic elements of characters in a way that would be glossed over if relationships weren't the goal of our main character. In fact, even though loving others is the key to surviving, the game doesn't ultimately glorify Olive's initial intentions. Olive wanted to use another person to make themselves feel better. They don't like to feel bad. They wanted a distraction from their pain, a little love to make the death sweeter. So, with all that in mind, Olive's endearing moment of resistance has so much more weight, and the game subtly acknowledges that Olive knows Patches really well by now, just as the player does. Olive's rare face of anger, accompanied by the words, "You always lie," is a testament to this. But it goes much deeper. Patches seems to be aware as well. On a different path, when discovered by Olive and Sparky in the act of killing, Patches kills them both, but not before misgendering Olive, mentioning how he's jealous of them, even though this should be their first meeting, and says he'll see Olive in hell, where he'll kill them repeatedly, like he does in most of the paths in the game. Whenever you get cornered by Patches and get a choice on trying to survive, usually running or fighting, he often encourages you to take the option you didn't pick as he kills Olive. He's toying with the player, and with them. Olive also has a direct fourth wall break when trying to go back to the closet anytime after picking up the key. Treating multiple paths in a game as equally canon, or characters being aware of the player's actions, is not a new idea in game design or analysis.
What is so interesting about this is that both of them will die at the hand of the other at some point in the story. We are paradoxically allowed to follow both characters from this binary outcome. The strength of an interactive medium like video games is that within a narrative context, two radically different outcomes of one situation can be equally true and meaningful. It doesn't matter what is canon within the internal universe of Hotline Miami. What really matters is that we are able to explore the different outcomes of any one situation. In fact, the highly unlinear nature of how we consume video games allows both scenarios to be so-called canon. From your perspective as a player, everything happened the way you saw it.
Here, at the end of Olive's journey, and with Patches not having a means to manipulate them anymore, he admits if Olive had taken him up on his offer, he would have killed them anyway. But luckily, Patches doesn't get to make this a dead end. Angel, technically keeping true to his promise to Olive to not kill Patches, instead repossesses Patches' body. Even with magic and spirits factoring into the solution, the game is determined not to make light of what Patches has done, despite Olive's plea for not killing him. In real life, you can't evict someone from their body and put someone they killed in it. But there is a dramatic realism here that, just like in real life, there's never going to be a perfect solution. But that solution should include separating yourself from the abusive person. We've never experienced a dating sim like this before, though Doki Doki sure comes close. Olive's character arc is very atypical. This game examines their dysfunctional thinking about relationships and presents a foil in Angel, whose redemption shows even being a survivor of abuse doesn't mean you have to go on to abuse others, and if you have hurt others, you don't have to keep doing it. Olive's loneliness doesn't have to put them down the same path as Patches' loneliness did. Thank you for your help. You made me really happy. Really? Angel, I've spent so long being lonely. I never thought I could make anyone else happy. I just wanted someone to be there to make me happy. But I guess making people smile is what makes life worthwhile. I'm so happy. I have a bunch of special someones in my life now. Olive's admittance to not thinking that they can make anyone happy is very relatable and reflects huge self-esteem issues. Pups who can't see their own value tend to try so hard to please others because they feel that they're a burden, and only by proving their value can they make anyone stay in their lives. Thankfully, Olive gets to learn that they do have value and that they are worthy of love, but Olive hasn't found self-fulfillment. As they say, they found a lot of special someones, which from experience can be awesome, but might just mean Olive has 4 folks they can split their codependency between. Puppy steps, everyone. Puppy steps. And so, Olive gets a much happier ending than expected. Embrace the normal convention of most dating sims. This game not only doesn't include compulsory monogamy, but actively makes polyamory its hashtag canon ending. Everyone goes out for milkshakes, and Olive made everyone happy, or rather, everyone survived, but most of all, Angel is happiest. Our hearts melted. Olive helped Angel and Coco break the cycle of hate. But one can only say everyone is happy, or everyone survived, if you forget about Patches. But Patches doesn't want anyone to be happy but him. So, in a way, everyone being happy is impossible. But that's not Olive's fault. This is the best surprise birthday party ever! I'm going to kill all of you in your sleep. Purrfect Apawcalypse 2, Purgatory Forever, is kinda like the Hateful Eight with gay furries. Or, I guess, more like the board game Betrayal House on the Hill? Except the cast is Olive and all of their friends from the previous game. Let that sink in. The stakes for the first game are definitely raised. Now that living is worthwhile and you know you're not a burden, wouldn't it be horrible to lose that? Or worse, your friends? Those people you want to be happy? It's an interesting inversion on a horror sequel trope. Normally gathering any, especially all the survivors of another installment, means there's gonna be a bloodbath. But of course, this is a horror game of bad ends. So there are gonna be plenty of ways to see everyone you love and yourself die horribly. But you get to have your cake and eat it too, because it's our birthday. I mean, because as a video game, death is just part of the fail state. So there is the catharsis of horror and the possibility of everyone surviving the night and being happy. So I guess it's like burying and reviving your gays. Trial and error is a staple in adventure choosy games. It's a necessity to progression. But just like the last game, it pulls double duty as a metaphor. The stakes are higher now since you now have friends to lose. And especially since the last game ends with everyone being happy and surviving, it stands to reason that players from the original would strive to do it again since now they know it's possible. This game uses your retries as a metaphor for failing or hurting someone you care about and hopefully learning from it. An inversion of the lesson you learned in the first game that you couldn't have just done something different to ensure Patches wouldn't hurt others or you. After all, Olive can only control their own actions, so unlike Patches, they can be different. The game's prologue gives you grounding to the super sweet ending to the last game, as it reveals that the Haikacho Haie Massacre was still weighing on Olive and company even over milkshakes. In fact, being a survivor of it is kind of like being a survivor of Raccoon City. It's nice that the game acknowledges PTSD, but the fatal reunion of our friends is supposed to be a happy occasion. It's Olive's birthday, and it's sweet. Except for all the zombies? Zombies? Oh, do we get to a zombie apocalypse after all? The Zomdogs are all victims of the last game's unfortunate events. Olive had to run like hell to not get overrun by the angry Zomdogs, but made it to Coco's house safe and sound. Purrpaw 2 is much longer than its predecessor, and because of that, and because we want you to have some reason to play it, we're going to be focusing on the critical path for this analysis. Though there are some diversions of note we couldn't possibly ignore. Olive starts with their adorable self in front of Coco's house, protected on all sides by a huge fence. Before going in, Olive tries to talk to the Zomdogs, but all they want is revenge. Immediately, one will find before going in that the UI has changed. You get to see an overhead view of whatever room Olive is in, and you get several options on things to interact with. Most of these options will be inspection or going to adjacent rooms, but hot off the last game, it's a welcome addition, and a nod that this game has so much more in store. This game leans more into its adventure choosy roots, as what propels player progression is curiosity. Kinda like a child. You'll find upon entering the house that you can go upstairs to the kitchen, or is that a cake? Oh, and tea. Interacting with the tea party table causes Olive to drink it. But they're so excited they don't even care about a cup and drink straight from the spout. What a baby. Oh well, we think we've waited long enough to bring this up, but just like our content, there's a certain intersection of thingies that we feel about Olive, and it was at this point in playing that the watershed broke and our reading of them materialized fully. We've mentioned Olive being reminiscent of an H player and an Ace person already, and it was at this point that our read of them as autistic came bursting into our head like a Kool-Aid guy. Between Olive's habit of trusting folks way more than the average person, even for their age, and them disregarding social cues as they do here, we got a strong feeling that they were on the spectrum. We ourselves are self-diagnosed, but we were denied any attempt at diagnosis from our parents growing up, as Black autistic kids have even lower life expectancy than neurotypical ones. Our parents were scared to have us labeled, as in their words, crazy. It not being overt for Olive makes sense. Based on their personality and habit of people-pleasing, they wouldn't be considered disruptive in school, which is how many kids get put down the path to diagnosis in the first place. The funny thing about asexual and autistic folk is that many people infantilize us out the wazoo. Ace peeps, because as lacking sexual attraction, many think there's a lack of maturity there. There are even those in the ace community that lean into this. I can't count the number of times I've seen Legos over sex threads on Avon. For autistic folks, even among those that can mask well, there's a propensity for healthcare workers and loved ones to handle us as if we're made of glass. That we need to be protected, especially from ourselves, and that we can't understand complex emotions, or are just too innocent for this world. Not to mention things like sensory sensitivity, causing many of us to value things often associated with youth, like fleece or weighted blankets, and how common it is for autistic folks to be taken advantage of by others, especially those that know them well. We can't count the amount of times we've been led astray by folks we trusted, sometimes only finding out their true intentions years later through a third party. In regards to how this could possibly align with age play is that, well, for one, there are many autistic and ace folks in the furry and ADBL communities, as there is an overlap with certain interests that might cause one to see what all the giggling and stuff was about. Our thumbnail for this video encapsulating Olive's tea drinking moment is something we got commissioned by the awesome Little Paws Leo on Twitter, and something stuck in our mind reading the scene for the first time, in which we had to get out despite our lack of drawing skills. Now, as an autistic and ace person who infantilizes, it can be fudging weird to talk about, since a lot of folks might see it as proof of the unconsented and often controlling ways folks with these identities get infantilized by others. But in the end, it all comes down to respecting another's autonomy. And before we continue the analysis, we do want to mention to folks who may feel in associating Olive or the game with baby furs that we're inherently sexualizing them. Although it is a fetish, the community is way more than that. It should be practiced between consenting adults. That being said, it doesn't begin and end with sex, similar to how some folks express their sexuality through the furry fandom. But that isn't all there is to the community. Sometimes you just want to dress childishly, watch cartoons, and eat chicken nuggies. There are those who often explain how some folks don't sexualize their age play at all, and although it is true, we have no intention of seeking acceptance through exceptions. That's like saying furries are okay as long as they don't mersuit. Well, anyway, Olive through their excitement finds a key in the tea, which they almost swallow. If you have no one in your party at this point, the angel, who has been in the room the whole time, will run over and see if Olive is okay. But alone, you can't recruit them yet. This was the first key we found, and it's one of 3. The others can be found in the rooms Sparky and Brownie are in. See a pattern? You can't recruit Angel right now, but talking to them reveals that Coco is in her room and trying to find a magical solution to the Zomdog problem, which her and Angel are trying to take responsibility for. Without going to jail, of course. Going into the kitchen, you find Sparky, though he's not feeling his usual hopeful and chipper self. He isn't sleeping well since the massacre and seems to very much have PTSD, as he's pretty touch-averse right now, and doesn't trust himself around his friends, and is growing increasingly paranoid, which makes sense given I just haven't been able to get much sleep for the past few days. Let's nap together then. No. I mean, that'd be a bad idea. I seem to have started sleepwalking. That doesn't sound too bad. That just means I should hug you while you nap. Oof. Maybe sleepwalking is a bit of an understatement. When I wake up, everyone around me looks horrified. Sometimes even hurt. And I don't remember anything, but I feel like I've said or done some things that I'd regret. And I can't let myself hurt anyone else, so no napping for the time being, in fact. I shouldn't even be around you now. Oh, Sparky, if you hurt anyone, I'm sure they'd understand you didn't mean to. That's a nice sentiment, Olive. Which will be a hell of a lot to deal with for anyone. You can recruit him here since Olive has the bright idea of asking Coco for a magical solution to Sparky's problem. It's really cute that asking someone to join your party is phrased as asking them out. Ooh, whoa. From here, we can convince Angel to join us in asking Coco for help. Well, would you like to come visit Coco with Sparky and me? I don't think that's a good idea. We shouldn't bother Coco unless absolutely necessary. But it's super important. Tell him, Sparky. I guess I've been having some issues related to the whole Haicho High incident and possibly today's events. Every time I sleep, I have these vivid and violent nightmares. about dogs being killed when I wake up. The people around me are scared or hurt, and the place is trashed. I'm so tired now. I can't even tell the difference between dreams and reality. That does sound serious. Angel looks through the window to see how the zombies are doing. They're mindlessly walking into the fence whilst moaning about revenge or something. Alright, I suppose this is serious enough to abandon my post and bother Coco. Yay! Obviously Brownie is the last one, and she's upstairs in the potty. She sure does love hanging out in potties but not using them. She actually locked herself in to get away from Sparky since his sleep wrecking has hurt her recently. Ask Brownie out. Brownie, are you busy? Yes, very. Brownie is leaning coolly against the bathroom sink, doing absolutely nothing. Angel rolls his eyes, and Sparky looks at Brownie suspiciously. Would you be willing to take a break and help us talk to Coco? It'd be super helpful for Sparky if you could come. Sparky sweats nervously. I guess you could use an eyewitness. But Sparky, if you try anything, I will break off both of your legs and beat you to death with them. And we all know you can't play your dumb sports without legs. This means we'll finally get to see Coco's bedroom. Yeah! I'm so flippin' excited to see the real Coco. Oh right, the keys. We can't get into Coco's room without all three. We'll find one in the potty's bathtub after draining the water. And before leaving, we just had to see what interaction we would get with the potty itself. Toilets are loud and scary. Oh, really? Brownie flushes the toilet 1 billion times in a row. Oh no! The water bill. As self-indulgent as sharing more Olive being scared of toilets is, it's a perfect example of how the affection system has evolved since the last game. Previously, Olive's actions that increased or reduced the hearts next to a special someone's head were most relevant in making someone happy at the end of the story. It was relevant to progression as well, but maxing out everyone's happy in-game and getting the true end was impossible in the first game. In this game, the things you do and how it affects party members are a little more complex. Not only can you get the true end and max out almost everyone's happy, but depending on who's in the party and when you interact with a thing, not only will Olive's actions determine the affection of a party member, but the other folks in the party might affect it as well. And not always in the way you may want. Though, it's nice to see how much care was put into character writing. You can really see how your friends get along. Remember, you can only control your own actions. Anyway, you might wonder why I neglected the key in the kitchen. But we have some things we can do downstairs before we enter Coco's domain, and making our friends happy is important. Like, true ending important. Going in the fridge with Angel by your side yields some great bonding between him and Olive. It's dripping something. What is it? Oh, don't worry. It's just my meat. Angel opens the fridge, revealing heaps of raw bloody meat. Oh, it's just Angel's meat. Oh, that smell, I hate it. Really? But it's so much better than kibble. It really is. This is where cats and dogs have common ground. Please, try some. Olive begins digging into the meat, tearing flesh from bone and slurping the blood. Sparky backs away to keep himself out of the splash zone. I just can't look at blood the same way after the whole Haicho incident. That's too bad. I'm sorry our crimes caused you to miss out on this bounty. Whoa, look! Olive holds up a key. They found it in the meat. I guess the meat wasn't a bad idea after all. Though it does muddy the waters in terms of animal traits versus anthro traits in the world of Purrpaw. But hey, it's a tasty yet gross snack. If you go back outside, everyone will hear Coco scream. Oh shit, she's in trouble. Better help out. But you can, while you're out here, bond with your friends some more over the state of the Zomdogs and Angel's grave. Your grave's all dug up. This is alarming. My theory on the zombies was that their souls reclaim their bodies. But my soul is in this body, right? What has my old body? Aw, don't sweat it, Angel. I mean, who even needs that old body? Patch? Perhaps it doesn't matter what body you have. Yeah, we love you no matter what you are. Olive hugs Angel. Aw, you're so nice. I'd still like my old body, though. Well then, this is a fine kettle of fish we've gotten ourselves in. I wonder who's in Angel's body. But nevertheless, let's go to see how we can help Coco. Upon booking it upstairs and unlocking the door, the plot once again thickens. And yes, this game has chapters. So that's chapter 1. Get off of me, you undead bastard! Huh, Angel, is that you? And you brought everyone fantastic. Get away from her! Or what? Sparky pins Angel's undead body to the ground. He holds a fist threateningly above them. You're behind all of this, aren't you? Oh, wait, Sparky! This isn't you! You're not a violent dog. Please, don't hurt me. I just wanted Coco to fix this body so I can go back to being alive. Really? Sparky suddenly jolts in pain. He falls over, knocked out cold. Angel's dead body holds up a syringe and winks at the others. What the hell is that? Sparky! Olive runs to Sparky and tries to shake him awake. What's this? What? When? Give it back! Coco runs towards Angel's undead body, only to be sent flying back by a burst of energy from her own wand. This'll take some getting used to, but at least I have you all to practice on. Who are you? After all the time we spent together, you can't tell who I am? But Patches, I took your body, but you didn't take my soul. Now here I am in your old body, taking from you what you took from me. Kinda romantic, huh? Meanwhile, Sparky is lying in Olive's lap. He's beginning to wake up. Sparky! He grabs Olive by the throat. Coco tries to knock Sparky out with a textbook, but she only manages to break his hold on Olive. Enough, run! You wouldn't. You love me. Oh, you bitch. So, we're in a state of emergency, huh? Angel and Brownie are holding the door while Olive and Coco are in search for a way to defend ourselves. We can search the bathroom, but deciding to go downstairs to the kitchen seems to be a better choice. Although in the bathroom, you can get a better sense of Coco's intention, because even though this is a life or death situation, Olive is still hoping for a solution that ends with Sparky being okay. No weapon here. Unless we want to drown him. Drown him? Well, with these little paws? I think you're super talented, Coco. Talented enough to think of something else. Olive is trembling. You're right. I am talented. Let's think of something else. Oh, we can make Coco happy now. That's so exciting. And this interaction gives us an inkling towards how the game is challenging us. In the last game, Olive learned not just to go along with whatever the folks around them wanted in order to not be alone. But here's where it's being put to the test. Olive has hope for life, but in order to keep them and their friends alive, collaboration, like last time, is needed to survive. This time without the one who inspired their hope last time. But Olive is still relying on optimism as they refuse to let Sparky die. So, downstairs, our duo see the zombies are inside and must barricade themselves in the kitchen. Things are escalating quickly. Looking around the kitchen, we see the knives are gone. Where did all the knives go? This would have been so perfect, just a few stabs and... Olive grumbles. And Sparky will be incapacitated because we'll use the knife to cut his tendons. But I love Sparky's tendons. It's looking more and more like Coco is pacifying Olive in order to get cooperation in murdering Sparky, and Olive isn't exactly sure how to proceed. Although, when examining the pots and pans, Coco has an idea to knock Sparky out with them, and in order for Olive to get back upstairs, offers herself as bait to lead the zombies away. You can question her plan, but without a better one yourself, how can Olive justify it? Back upstairs, armed with the ironware, Brownie and Angel ready themselves for violence, and Olive sees this path was a dead end for Sparky. Not a lot of time to mourn, however, since Patches still has the wand. And it turns out, Brownie and Angel get dead ends too. Maybe this wasn't a good path. Olive can retreat in Coco's room, but that's just a more comfy place to die. Here you can see that, depending on happiness level, you can decide the fate of Coco. But Olive sure is done for. Coco, you're okay! Olive, it worked! I told you... A knife pierces Olive's throat. Olive? Patches leans out of the window over Olive's dead body. Aw, little kitty stuck in a tree. I'll help cut you down. Before Patches can send a burst of magic, Coco dashes off the tree and into another, and then another. She's gone in the blink of an eye. Well, 4 out of 5 is still pretty good. Making Coco happy wasn't possible in the first game, but it's nice to see here though. It's strange to see Coco as the last girl, considering with things stacked against her like this, it's hard to imagine her winning against Patches. Although her happiness graphic does include her wand. So there's that. Now having seen Coco's plan through, it's safe to say this path only leads to tragedy. If in the kitchen with Coco we doubt her plan, Olive still has no alternative. So we still have to go with it, minus a happy Coco. Which means we'll likely watch all of our friends die this time. But thinking about how Coco uses the meat in the refrigerator to help draw the zombies to her, there's an inkling of hope. So, if you don't inspect the pots and go for the fridge instead, Olive gets a bright idea to feed the Zomdogs in order to reason with them, since in the beginning of the game, Olive saw that they have some amount of sentience. This is the turning point, as Coco doubts the plan pretty enormously, but there is a way to get her to trust the meat, and it's only because it's Olive's birthday. Are you gonna kill them again? It's us or them, Olive. Coco shakingly stands between Olive and the fridge full of meat. Wish. My birthday wish is for you to trust the meat. There was a note on your door. It said you owe me one birthday wish. Coco begrudgingly steps out of the way. Olive is surprised this worked. Olive finds a tray in one of the cupboards and scoops as much meat into it as possible. They walk with it towards the door and kick the chair out from under the doorknob. Ah! Olive, what are you doing? The door bursts open and zombies stream into the kitchen. Coco panics and jumps on the kitchen table. Olive follows in order to gain some height. We're gonna talk about this. Over an assortment of delicious meats. They start throwing chunks of meat into the crowd of zombies. Holy shit, is this really how I'm gonna die? The zombies start eating the meat. Olive continues throwing meat at the zombies. It's a bloodbath, the likes which they've never seen. Okay, now let's talk. What do you guys want? Meat. No. You morons, we want revenge. Yeah, revenge. Okay, revenge, but revenge won't get your lives back. Or your bodies fixed. Maybe revenge doesn't make you happy. Happy? Yeah. What makes me happy is eating snacks with a bunch of really nice friends. You could all be my friends. Friends? Yeah, friends. If you help us get Coco's magic wand back, we can fix you up using her magic. Really? That sounds... A flurry of knives suddenly flies through the door? They zip through, slicing and stabbing everything in their path. Get down, Olive! Coco grabs Olive and pulls them under the kitchen table. The knives have sliced a path through the zombies. Stabbing traitors. A beloved pastime. Now, where are you two? I need to add you to my collection. Sparky's taking care of the others as we speak. Patches steps forward right into the tray of blood. So this is what won them over? Huh. A bunch of disgusting meat and empty promises. I'll never understand how others are so quick to trust. And after Ginger gave them life, and I gave them justice, it still wasn't enough to keep them loyal. Patches notices Olive's tail sticking out from under the kitchen table. There you are. Patches reaches for Olive's tail, but a zombie playing down on the floor grabs his leg. He hits the floor and loses his grip on the wand. Coco scrambles out from under the table to grab it. No! Coco sends a massive blast of energy at Patches. The kitchen is filled with bright green light. Patches is gone. Did you vaporize him? No, he got away. I wonder who Ginger is. Screaming is heard from upstairs. Angel and Brownie! Sparky! So this was unforeseen. Only someone like Olive could reason with bloodthirsty Zomdogs and somehow turn fortune on its head. Glad they're on our side now, though it shows that sometimes you have to disagree, even with your friends. From experience, one of the hardest things for a people pleaser to do is advocate for themselves. Upstairs with the wand, Coco stops Sparky without bloodshed. but not before breaking a few of our friend's bones. And the dog that was possessing him flees. They look sort of familiar. Sparky coughs a bit and slowly gets up, dazed. Olive? Brownie, is your leg broken? Oh yeah, you broke it. Oh no, oh fuck. I can't believe it. I can't believe I let him knock me out. And now look at you. You seem to have broken my arm as well. No. Don't start howling. You guys are so lame. Wait, I don't hear the voices anymore. How did you guys fix me? You were possessed. I forced the spirit out, but she's flown away at dog knows where, probably back to Patches for further instructions. Ugh. They could attack us at any moment. We need to find her. You have got to be kidding me. Now's not the time. We need to make a plan. The zombies, they can help us. Zombies? Oh, right. I guess some of them are on our side now? They're all on our side. They're all good friends and all good dogs. Olive wiggles in excitement. Their friends do not share the same sentiment. Olive and company lick their wounds and the zombies protect the house. They're so cute. Sparky feels guilty for his actions, even if they weren't actually his. Coco sends Sparky and Olive to get a first aid kit from the potty, which makes Sparky and Olive realize that Olive's promise to heal the Zomdogs isn't within Coco's power, since even healing broken bones don't seem to be within her magic. Sparky questions Coco about magic, and she teaches him about banishing spirits to hell. Isn't learning fun? Sparky is restless and wants to go for a walk, so Olive, the good pup that they are, accompany them. Although, considering Patches and Ginger could be anywhere, Sparky isn't sure about letting Olive leave with them. If you haven't made Sparky happy up to this point, you'll be locked out of going with him. But, if you have, he's too scared to go alone. Safety in numbers! So, right along the spooky path, Olive and Sparky can talk. Be careful, because the conversations might make Sparky grumpy. Olive and Sparky come upon a spooky cellar, and it seems Ginger is inside, and crying. It's at this point Sparky reveals he's nabbed Coco's wand as he's felt pretty useless lately and wants to redeem himself. He blows the lock open and tells Olive to wait outside so he can send Ginger to hell. Sorry, Inferno. But Olive's anxiety gets the better of them and they bolt down the stairs within seconds. Valid. Sparky demands Ginger show remorse, as he obviously doesn't want to kill her, but she doesn't respond the way he wants, and so he opens the portal to Inferno, preparing to do the dirty deed. Again, Olive gets the opportunity to call their friend out, and if they do... No, Sparky. Olive punches Sparky square in the jaw. Olive? They continue batting at him. Bad, dog! Their soft punches hurt nothing but Sparky's guilty conscience. She's the bad dog. No, you're both bad dogs. Olive grabs the wand from Sparky. Ginger sniffles. Sparky is silent. Why are you crying? Do you want to talk about it? I failed. I'm a failure. We get the answer to Olive's question concerning Patches and Ginger's relationship. Patches was grooming her just like Olive in the last game. All of her self-worth is invested in Patches, and since their defeat at the house, Patches has discarded her. It's kind of staggering that he manipulated his way out of hell. It says a lot that this adventure wouldn't have even happened if Patches wasn't continuing to use folks. His greatest skill, it seems, is taking advantage of the insecurities of others. And that's scary because that's not something you need magic for. But just then, the lights flicker out, and Patches grabs the wand and absconds. Maybe he hasn't given up on me after all. Maybe I'm worth something. You were just the bait, weren't you? Don't you even care that he's using you? You're ready to die just because a windbag like Patches might think less of you? Do you realize how many times I'd give up if I thought like that? This is all my fault. We could all die here because of me. But I'm not just gonna sob in a corner until someone tells me it's not my fault. I need to fix this. Sparky, taking all the blame upon himself, runs out after him, leaving Olive and Ginger alone. Talking further shows Ginger is reminiscent of Angel in the last game, a spirit being ordered around to exact revenge while taking their own autonomy into account. Olive knows just what to do in these situations. After all, they understand how it feels to be lost and trying to find worth through others. They offer Ginger to join up with Olive and company, gushing about how Ginger would get along with everyone. It's no secret Olive wants to make everyone happy, but we're worried it might end up biting him in the tushy. Ginger is skeptical and hasn't let go of Patches, but does trust Olive. You learn here you can make her happy as well. That's a good sign. Olive sticks a crumbling jack-o'-lantern on their head again. Boo! I already saw you do that with Sparky. It was pretty funny though. Ginger stays in the basement when Olive leaves though. Sparky and Olive head back, hoping not to find all their friends dead. Olive can talk to Sparky on the way back too. Sparky, just so you know, I'm not mad at you for any of this. It's not your fault. Even if things end up really bad, you're actually a really good boy. I say that a lot, but it's true. Everyone thinks so. And it's notable that Olive let Sparky know they don't hold Sparky's actions against him. Considering all the trauma and guilt he's dealing with, it's no surprise Sparky got reckless trying to fix things. Though he doesn't seem to forgive himself. It's hard to find a balance between taking responsibility and not being self-deprecating. It's really easy to be mad at Sparky as a player. Taking matters into his own hands was pretty stupid, and considering horror tropes usually mean he spelled everyone's doom. It functioned to move the plot, but Sparky hasn't been himself the whole game. It's kind of awesome writing, to be honest. The events of the last game took their toll on everyone, and it feels like extra attention was paid to how it would affect Sparky. His hopeful bravado, typical of a wholesome jock, has been broken down, and he's been desperately trying not to fall apart. He sees himself as a threat to those around him. It shows that he's not as confident as he seemed, and that in the last game, his confidence was likely for the sake of those around him. I mean, we've all made a brave face for our friends in hard times, right? Olive and Sparky get back to see the Zomdog slain. Guess Coco doesn't have to disappoint them at least. Before going in, a wild Ginger appears and offers her help for the last stand, much to Olive's delight. Oh my dog, Ginger, you could have given us a heart attack. I'm sorry. I want to help for my own peace of mind. Really? Wow. Does that mean we're friends? Friends? This is great. I'm so excited. Olive dances around Ginger, who stands flustered and confused. Glad to have you on board, Ginger. Sorry about everything. It's alright. I just sort of realized you guys are pretty nice. Not to talk myself up or anything, but you'll need my abilities if Patches has the wand. Let's go find him then. So yet again, we have a party of 3 getting ready to enter the belly of the beast. If you want to spread some happy, this is your last chance to bond with Ginger and Sparky. In the bathroom, we get a dark callback to the first game, as Ginger reveals she was the bloodhound Olive found in the potty next to Brownie. I was slowly cut in half by a demon cat while hiding in a lonely, disgusting bathroom stall. I relive it every time I close my eye. Oh, that's pretty bad too. That's some twisted irony. Anyway, inside Coco's room, Patches has been waiting for us before he kills everyone. It's here we see Patches has a grudge against Angel in particular. It's no wonder considering he was the first one of Patches' victims, but ended up being his undoing. A stark reflection of the last game, Patches tries to manipulate Ginger like he did in the basement with Olive. But again, his lies are seen through. Enough chit-chat. Let's get our new pets in a comfier space. Then we can really give Angel a show. As thanks for all the pain he's caused me. Patches aims his wand at Olive. No. Ginger sends a blast of energy from her paw into Patches' chest. Patches seems to stand steadily until he falls over, dead. The magic wires that bound Olive's friends dissipate. Angel pulls himself up, coughing. Is he dead? Oh, you bitch. But Patches? Patches lunges at Angel, but he doesn't seem to make it. He's stopped midair by Ginger's magic. You assumed I'd be here just to pick up where I left off. I was so hurt when you turned your back on me. You told me I was a failure. Am I supposed to forget all that? Ginger opens a portal in the middle of the room. You wouldn't. You love me. Ginger begins lowering Patches into the portal. I'm not going down alone. Patches bites Olive's leg, and they fall to the ground and start slipping into the portal with him. Ah! Olive. Ginger quickly closes the portal, but it's too late. And in true Patches fashion, he has to drag someone down to his level. But because Ginger realized too late that Patches took Olive with him, they don't end up in Inferno. They're in Purgatory. Will it be forever? But what if she comes and you're not with me? We need to stick together if we're both gonna get out. Why do you want me to get out? After everything I've said so far, don't you realize I'm just gonna continue tormenting you and your friends? Purrfect Apawcalypse does something rare for us to find in games, especially as an abuse survivor and someone trying to recover from being an abuser. A way to experience strong relationships from a safe distance, even ones with folks that will hurt you. This isn't by any means new for games or art, but for someone like us, experiencing this through a character like Olive is an unheard of level of relatability for us. Neurodivergent A-spec imbies don't get much play, especially ones so bab-like. It's okay to be soft. You don't have to be hardened or physically strong to help your loved ones or to get away from abuse. Nor do you need to be those things to abuse others, as we know all too well. There are plenty of games with strong themes of abuse, tragedy, and mental illness, but even some of the best games that do are limited by their linearity. I suppose here, the medium is the message in a way? The crayon aesthetic makes the harder themes so much easier to handle. And as an adventure choosy game, Purrfect flexes its ability to tell a story through how you experience it. Something that only games can do so well. Not simply tethering a player to a single sequence of actions of a protagonist, but allowing one's agency to be expressed through their choices and priorities. It feels a little counterintuitive though, doesn't it? A game like Purrfect has a lot less moment-to-moment decisions than, say, The Last of Us 2? However, in the latter, your only choices are based ultimately on how many and in which ways you kill others. While in the former, choices have a ripple effect that radiates through you and the events. There may be a true ending for these Purrfects, but how you get there makes a difference. We can't help but think of the folks, ourselves included, who got upset playing Telltale's Walking Dead for the second time and realizing that the choices did not have as much weight as they seemed. Making games like these are hard. Planning paths and dialogues are stressful and time-consuming as fudge. So there always will be a limit on the planned possibilities, and to a degree, events will have to converge. Despite these limitations, we've realized that how you express yourself through a game's mechanics can be just as important as how the game plays out. It defines your experience after all. And Purrfect makes the disparate paths a web of experiences. In the void with Patches, it seems pretty bleak, and yet Olive, forever the optimist, thinks that at least they're not alone. Oh, for dog's sake. Patches looks at his transparent paws for a moment, and then suddenly slaps Olive in the face. Ah! Did that hurt? Oh, no, not really. It was really scary, though. I can't even pass the rest of eternity torturing you. This place is far worse than Inferno. We're not in Inferno? Where are we? We're in Purgatory, you dolt. We didn't make it all the way through Ginger's shitty portal, and now we're stuck here, alone, for all eternity. But I'm not alone, I have you. Oh, and it's in love with me too now. Olive is still very forgiving, and that seems like a bad thing at first, but Olive hasn't regressed to how they were at the start of the first game. They aren't letting Patches walk all over them. The two's worldviews come in a stark contrast here, and seeing Olive stand their ground shows just how much they've grown. Huh? I'm not an it. No. You're a disgusting mutt that just shares love with everyone like a wild animal. You're no use to me unless you live with me, and only me. What? It's okay to love lots of people, Patches. Don't you have parents you love, or friends? You know what, Olive? I think I'd rather be alone for all eternity than listen to this after-school special drivel. Patches wants total devotion from a person. His possessiveness means he wants to be their whole world. He doesn't even call this love. He arrogantly admits it's just what's necessary for someone to be useful to him. His selfishness is the core of his disgust with Olive and their polyamorous ways. However, his sentiment of Olive being desperate for any love that they can get is echoed in Sparky and Brownie's assertions earlier in the game, that Olive showers others with praise so much it devalues their accolades. Forever the edgelord, Patches won't entertain Olive's curiosity of ever having had love in his life at all. It seems to have struck a chord. Being in the position of the loser here, Patches is pretty loose-lipped about how he manipulated Ginger and how fun it was for him. Correct? What's your point? How did you get back? I got lucky. I found the soul of a powerful Esper and got her to fall in love with me. She followed my every whim. It was a lot of fun playing with her, honestly. But now, I won't be able to come back unless someone from outside lets me out. And Ginger probably won't come back for me if she knows I'll kill all her new friends. She's always been, Patches shudders, sentimental. Do you think she'd come back for me? Patches' eyes Olive up and down. That's a very good point, Olive. Maybe we should stick together. Patches grabs Olive's arm, hard enough to hurt, as if they were alive to feel anything. I'm not letting go until we're out of here, for as long as it takes. Okie dokie, Patches. Once Olive seems useful again, of course, Patches is sticking to them like glue. Olive is still Olive and isn't complaining about the situation though. Here, you have a chance to bond with Patches, but he's very prickly, and Olive can easily upset him further. Sometimes on purpose. Others, accidentally. If your goal is to make him happy, you basically have to walk on eggshells. Everything you learn here about Patches reinforces the notion that he has a deep hurt of loneliness, harkening back to something he said in the last game. He even alludes to having actually valued Angel, but having felt betrayed by a perceived slight. It dawned on us that maybe Patches knows how to manipulate folks like Olive and Ginger so well because he has first-hand experience in lacking self-worth and feeling lonely. It's pretty common knowledge that many abusers were at one point abused. It's common to become an abuser because you feel the need to exert control over others to protect yourself. We can unfortunately relate. Once Olive takes a nap, time will pass, and they will eventually be rescued from purgatory. But they are determined to bring Patches with them, it seems. Olive curls up against Patches. What the fuck are you doing? I'm gonna nap until Ginger comes to get us. Well, nap somewhere else. But what if she comes and you're not with me? We need to stick together if we're both gonna get out. Why do you want me to get out? After everything I've said so far? Don't you realize I'm just gonna continue tormenting you and your friends? Despite being happy to take advantage of Olive not too long ago, it seems Patches feels guilty now. He wants to be punished. He can't accept their honest kindness. He's so used to deceiving others for it that now, with all his cards on the table, he feels he doesn't deserve Olive's compassion. How could he? He's done terrible things, and he feels that he's only capable of causing more pain. If you haven't made Patches happy, Olive is tongue-tied at Patches' question, and your ending is bittersweet for Olive, as not everyone will be happy. If Patches is happy, Olive can promise to save him. Pathway unlocked. But you don't deserve to be trapped in purgatory forever. I trust that you'll be a good boy and not hurt anyone. Olive curls up once more. I'll make sure you get out of here and get a slice of my birthday cake. Olive curls up and promptly falls asleep. And Patches is struck speechless for the first time ever. When Olive is rescued, Patches is left behind. But if Olive has made the promise, they vouch for him desperately. And they do make a solid case, since at least 3 of our party did used to be villains themselves. Got him. Let's close the portal before Patches comes through. What? Wait. We can't just leave him in there. What? This is our chance to finally be rid of him. Please? I know he's a bad dog, but we can't just give up on him. No one gave up on Sparky or Ginger. You've done some bad stuff too, Coco. They have a point. My life will be over if you guys gave up on me after everything I've done. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. He's not even that old though. I mean, not that I'm defending him. Patches won't learn because he just doesn't want to. No, but it's my birthday. You already got your birthday wish, Olive, with the whole meat thing. Meat thing? Okay. I'll grant your wish. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Olive's right. And I'm not just saying that because I'm hung up on Patches. Everyone is worth saving. We should have some conditions for him though. Yeah, just tell me what it is and I'll do it. Is he dead? Does dead even mean anything anymore? Patches wakes up, gasping for air. Olive? Patches! Isn't this so exciting? With Ginger and Coco's magic combined, we fixed your body. We even gave you some of Angel's old clothes. No need to return it. I'd have to burn it. Nice one. Brownie and Angel high five. Rude. What the fuck? Patches tries to sit up, but something jerks his neck back. What the hell is this? Patches throws a fit. He's trying to tear off the collar. Though his teeth and claws are sharp, it does little against the strange glowing chains. Ginger gave me a magic leash. It's supposed to keep you from doing evil things. You only have to wear it until everyone's convinced you're a good boy. Which shouldn't take long, right? I know you're a good boy deep down inside. Oh my dog. A leash? Really? Do you have any idea how demeaning this is? But this was the only way they'd let you come back with me. It's a good look on you, Patches. So what? Does Angel own my body now? Why do I have to be stuck in this inferior twink's body? Inferior twink? Look, buddy, we're doing you a huge favor. Maybe you can have your body back once you've proven that you're a good boy. For now, though, you're stuck in Angel's inferior twink body. It's far easier to stop if it goes on a killing spree. Stop talking about my body like that. Wait, what do I have to do to prove I'm good? Don't manipulate anyone, don't stab anyone, and don't kill anyone. Owl's got you on a tight leash, 24/7, just to make sure. What? We're gonna be best friends. Olive gives Patches a big hug. He's stunned. This is the best surprise birthday party ever. I'm going to kill all of you in your sleep. Everyone laughs wildly at Patches' predicament. This is a very troubling ending, since Olive is willing to put everyone in danger for Patches' sake. He may be in pain, but he hasn't even shown remorse like any of our previous reformed villains. But even more so, Olive worries me in that even though this outcome was the best they could negotiate, it kinda puts Olive in an abusive light as they selfishly get what they want. This time everyone really did survive. Well, sorta. The truth is, you can't save everyone, and Olive now has power over Patches in a way that can easily go to their head. Patches is their responsibility now. This is played as comedy and some much earned comeuppance, but one cannot change if they don't want to change, or don't believe they can change. And just like the last game, there will be a fallout because of this. We fear the worst for everyone's future, especially Olive's. And how could we not? After all, the cycle of hate has one last link. Oh my dog, you made it to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. This was a lot of work. More work than we ever imagined. When we first started this channel, we never imagined we could make a video this long or spend this long on a project and not quit. And there's so much we could have still said, but you know, you have to know when you're gonna put a fork in it, you know? Anywhoosies. We'd like to thank 12 Face Productions and Value Customer, our wonderful patrons. And if you want your name in a video, you can just become one as well. If you're interested in the Let's Plays that we did to actually voice this content, check out our Twitch. We stream 3 days a week. This game means a lot to us, and it would mean so much more if you would support the creators, 90% Studios, who made an awesome, resonant game, and who are total comrades. As with the release of the third installment of Purrfect, they actually asked all people who were going to give them money to donate to their Black Lives Matter bail fund. And now that that fund is over, and since they are still indie creators and their games are free, we really like to encourage anyone who's interested in this game to please support them. It will mean the world to us. Mental health is really important to us, and that being said, we'd like to also promote a fellow YouTuber, shoutscion, who did a wonderful video about mental health and content creators, which talks about both sides of abuse, as well as what content creators can do to not be terrible to themselves. It's helped us outside of working on this project. However, it's really, really good and hasn't got nearly enough views. And we only found them because we're such a huge furry, and he happens to be developing a game right now called Jack and Cassie, which looks super awesome and is a item management game with a furry in it. Thank you so much for watching. This was a birthday gift to ourselves, and it took a lot of work, and we can't wait to see what else we do. And if you like our content, please subscribe, and if you're already subscribed, please ring the bell so you can see our videos when they post. We're trying to get back on a regular schedule, but who knows when that'll happen. See you later, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Patches, bad dogs should be punished, right? Oh yes, punished dearly. I'll punch his Patches in the face. He feels nothing but is still pretty pissed. What the hell was that for? Olive growls softly. You're a bad dog, and you're here because you're bad and you don't know how to talk to people. Olive gives Patches a huge hug. Why are you doing this? I don't know. Maybe you haven't had a hug in a while. I know I could always go for a hug. Olive hugs him really hard. He can't seem to get them off, so he just lets them hug him.